Papa.
compassion for the sake of this assembly and all living beings. Return the wonderful Dhamma way to teach us how to live suffering and attain bliss and then birth and death and quickly realize non-love.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one.
Namo saranto suchedoye alahari samyao sanputoshi.
Namo saranto suchedoye alahadi samyao sambuddhoshe.
无上甚深微妙法，百千万劫难遭遇。我今见闻得受持，愿解如来真实义。Supreme and wondrous Dharma, subtle and profound, rarely is encountered even in billions of eons. But now we see and hear it and accept it reverently. May we truly understand the Buddha's actual meaning. 师父上人，各位师兄，大家阿弥陀佛。Venerable Master, Dharma friends, Welcome to our Sutra lecture tonight. Today is Saturday, February the 11th, here in Berkeley, California. It's Sunday the 12th in Queensland, in China, Taiwan, Singapore, Malaysia, Hong Kong, New Zealand. We're delighted that you're here. Thank you all for making the effort. Those of you who are here in person, my goodness, how nice it is to see everybody. Those of you watching at home, delighted that you're with us, and we will be doing something different tonight than usual in that we're at the end of a chapter, which is, of course, the beginning of another chapter as we progress through the Avatamsaka Sutra. But tonight we're going to do something a little special, being that we finished with the line-by-line interpretation. Tonight we're going to... Do I hear an echo? Have I got reverb? Why have we got reverb here? Maybe somebody hit reverb. That's nice to so baby. But we don't need it. We don't have to come from the heavens. Coming from the earth is perfectly good. So, okay, there we go. That's much better. Much better. You cut the edge of it, right? Stop right there. That's good. We're happy. So we're going to tonight do what's called Sutra as literature. What does that mean? We're going to read the sutra together. We haven't done that for a while. We did it with the last chapter when we finished, but to go through, and ordinarily we give you a word, a line, a chapter, a verse, and then we interpret it. We say, what does this mean? Tonight, we're going to listen to the sound of the ideas. We're going to watch the flow of the thoughts and get the structure of the chapter through listening with our own ears, hearing our own voices, reading the sutra. Not chanting, but reading. Okay? That's what we got. That's what we're going to do. Appreciate so much those of you helping put this sutra together in big and small ways and bringing it out to the world. Those of you who get it up onto the internet, to direct stream, live stream, to send it to YouTube, to send it to Zoom, to send it into China, to send it into a Vietnamese chat room. So good. Those who make the tea so that the monk stays awake and his voice is lubricated. Those of you who translate into Chinese and to Vietnamese. Look at all the equipment required to get this lecture out the way we want it. So much appreciation and gratitude to all of you doing that. That work. That is truly, what do they call it? They say 永护道场, protecting the monastery. At the same time, directly 帮忙转大法轮, turning the Dharma wheel. Okay, what are we going to do? We're going to request sutra presence, but first we're going to play the bell song, sing the bell song. Remember last time we tried? Well, now we got a different bell. Somebody said the bell last week didn't sound full enough. It was a smaller bell. So we got a different bell. Let's see how it goes. Ready? You all can put your palms together if you'd like to. This is the bell song, part of the ceremony. The bell sound wide resounds throughout 1,000 million worlds. The Buddha's law is heard and spread all throughout the triple world. The wondrous sound that everywhere fills the Dharma realm with peace. May those those who hear it gain the strength to follow in faith the Buddha's path. That's the bell song. All right. Next in the program is when we invite the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas to draw near. And we do it with a melody. I've got our microphone ready. All tuned up. So, one more thing to do, which is here in the East Bay, Alameda County, Northern California, we say the Chochenyo Ohlone people practice spiritual connections to the earth and to all creation here on their ancestral land for tens of thousands of years. Today we acknowledge them as traditional custodians and the original storytellers of this land. We offer our respect to their elders, past, present, and emerging, and to all First Nations people whose sovereignty was never ceded. Now, look at this. Oh, my goodness. How about that? Chochenyo Ohlone人在他们祖先的土地上修炼着他们与土地和万物的精神联系，已有数万年。今天我们承诺他们是这些土地的传统监护人和原始讲故事的人，并且向其过去、现在和新兴的长老表示敬意，以及主观主权，从未破割让的所有第一民族人民们表示敬意。Okay, there it is. That's a tongue twister. And tomorrow, when I lecture on behalf of CTDB, we have to switch the original storytellers to the Pomo people, because that's who was in charge in Mendocino County, who owned it, who was the human counterpart of all the people there. Good stuff. Here we go. There it is. Now, what have we got? You already did that. Here it is. Avatamsaka Sutra, chapter 19. Hey, didn't we do chapter 19? Yes, we did. We're finished at chapter 20. However, since we're finished, I thought, what should we do to acknowledge that we've come to the end of the text, we've explained it through, we chanted where the Bodhisattvas chanted, Arsho Song Ye, Arsho Song Yue, the Bodhisattva surveyed around and then chanted these verses. What do we do next? And I thought, boy, we had fun when we finished the 10 Stages chapter. We were in Australia at the time, but we started it 6 years before that here in Berkeley. What we did was we read it as literature. Now, think about this. The Avatamsaka Sutra is, in fact, a book. I mean, the texts were collected, bound up, first in Sanskrit, pieces of it, made it into Chinese. It was translated numerous times in China along the trade route countries, and monasteries would keep a copy, and people explored it, explained it, illustrated it, reprinted it, and it came down to us because Master Hsuan Shifu said, this is important. This is really, really important. So he opened it up, and every night, twice on Saturday, twice on Sunday, it took 90 minutes to explain it, piece by piece, page by page, and till he got to the end. We took that, the disciples who recorded the words he said, took the recordings, slowly typed them out, translated them, put them into book form, BTTS, Buddhist Text Translation Society, that's us, published it. Books, we got books. The Avatamsaka Sutra. Interestingly enough, we're not done, even with the first go-through. The original translations were printed in the 80s, 1980s, so that's, 40 plus years ago. And now we have gone through and retranslated and republished beautiful editions, but again, not complete. It doesn't go from "Thus I have heard" to, "Huanxi Archu." They're happily dispersed. We did piece by piece, chapter by chapter, skipped over it. Some we left behind, like the Leaving the World chapter, Li Shi Jianping, still not done. Some big pieces. The reason being, first of all, it's big. It's a really big, long chapter. But another reason is because there are pieces of the sutra that are very repetitious. The purpose is not to tell a story. The purpose is to help you enter samadhi. There are pieces of the sutra where it's designed to help you go beyond your ears, go beyond your eyes, go beyond your mind to a state where you can truly merge with the Dharma realm. That's what high-level, full-time meditator bodhisattvas can do. So that's the reason why we haven't done the whole thing. It's really big, and pieces of it are it's hard to get through them. Our goal is to finish the whole sutra in English. When we're done, okay, can everybody see the bookshelf over there back in the corner where we have a stack of sutras and stuff? Probably when we're done, it'll be 2 shelves worth. one copy, all the way across. Each one a different chapter. That's how big it is. It's really, really big. So, after our 10 Stages chapter that we finished back last spring, right? We said, what's next? And I had remembered that when I was first encountering the whole chapter, the whole sutra, was when I did my pilgrimage, 3 steps, 1 bow. And Marty, Professor Verhoeven, the former Heng Chao, and I would sit in the back of our 1957 Plymouth station wagon at night, somewhere off the highway. Maybe it was in Carmel. Maybe it was in Bolinas. Maybe it was on Sonoma Coast somewhere, or halfway to Wampochung. And we would light our kerosene lantern with the glass chimney, and the wick, and it would go, poof, and you'd smell that kerosene smell. People know kerosene lamps. You ever done one? Camping lamps. That's what we had in the car. And we would open we had a big blue boxed copy of the Avatamsaka Sutra, big print, about this big. And we kept it right in the back of the front seat of our Plymouth. And interestingly enough, because it looked really weather-beaten and it had Chinese on it, nobody ever stole it. It made it all the way to Ukiah, all the way to Wampochung, without having been stolen, which we can't say for anything else in our car. Everything else was stolen at least once. So the sutra made it all the way. We would open it up, and by the light of the kerosene lantern, with the dark outside and the stars overhead, we would read the Avatamsaka Sutra, a little bit of it, and try to translate a little bit. And Marty would take notes, and So that's when I first saw chapter 19 and chapter 20. And I remember some of the really, really vivid imagery of the verses because they're so good. They communicate. And what is it? It's spoken word poetry. The old boomers among us, the white-haired among us, which myself included, if you could see it, we grew up before hip-hop. Hip-hop, rap music as a genre first emerged in South Brooklyn, New York, in the 70s. I was already a monk at that point. So I kind of didn't pick up on hip-hop, but younger people did and heard the beats underneath it and the energy of the singing, the rhyming, the freshness of it, and the fact that it was reflecting a whole culture from the street in musical form. The verses of the sutra are similar to that, not that they come from the gritty South Bronx in the 70s, but that what's going on is a bodhisattva is there in front of the Buddha, is moved and touched by the Buddha's light, and spontaneously sings praises to him on the spot. Spoken word poetry with inspiration. He probably didn't sit at his typewriter or his computer or his cell phone and sketch out the ideas that he wanted to say. I don't think they probably read from their notes. I think it was on the spot, inspiration. So what we're hearing when we hear these verses is the heart of a bodhisattva who's looking at the Buddha, feeling the Buddha's light, and just wants to communicate what he's feeling. And it's fascinating, as we've learned, because it's so different. Each one is different from the other. And few of them are saying, "Go Buddha, hallelujah, bodhisvaha, I love the Buddha's great." It's not that kind of praise. Some do, but mostly it's not. Mostly it's some aspect of Dharma. But I remember sitting in the Plymouth with the kerosene lantern lit, watching these verses go by and thinking, wow, that is profound and alive. This is alive. Here's somebody who, from his or her heart, is singing to the Buddha about what moves them. Cool. And some of the pictures, like the master painter, right? Just profound. All right, that's enough of an introduction. What we're going to do, now the Chinese translator can blow up the Chinese, the Vietnamese translator can work on the Chinese, so that we're going to read in English, and the Chinese and Vietnamese communities might be kind of bored unless our translators bring up their text. We're going to do this, and bring up real big, and you're going to help me, aren't you? Yes, you are. You're going to help me read. All right? We're going to read it as literature and listen to how it flows along to get a sense of what's going on. Now, you're going to have to, I want you all to feel free to chushang, you can really speak. But you want to also listen, because why? There's a skill. And we discovered this the last time we tried it. There's really a skill to group reading. And what do? You pay attention to the punctuation. The punctuation in the sentence is your friend. When you see a comma, it's a short pause. You can breathe. When you see a period, it's a hard pause. You stop and you breathe. When you see white space, silence. And you also want to listen to the person to your left, to your right, in front of you and behind you, and match their sound. That way, this reading together, reading in unison, group reading can be a really transcendent Dharma door. They say what? 异口同音, different mouths, but harmonious sound. Okay, got it? Got the idea? Okay, we listen. Ready? So, let's start right here. Put our palms together. You ready? Here we go. The Avatamsaka Sutra. We're good. That's done. Thank you so much. See you all next week. Terrific. We did a good job. Harmony. All right. Kidding. Okay. Ready? More. Chapter 19, Ascending to a Palace in the Suyama Heaven. Sounds good. I like that sound. Here we go. Let's try this first paragraph. Okay, ready? Here we go. Then the Tathagata's awe-inspiring spiritual power allowed everybody in the southern Jambudvipa, in the continents of worlds of every direction, as well as beings on the summit of Mount Sumeru, the polar mountain, together witness the Tathagata there amid the gatherings. Period. Stop. Those bodhisattvas each received the Buddha's spiritual strength, and with that inspiration spoke Dharma. Without exception, each of them felt that the Buddha sat directly in front of them. Okay. Can you also read it in the back? Big enough? Big enough, Chinchuan? Good? Okay, something magical just happened. They all feel the Buddha is sitting in front of them, although they're all in their different places. Ready? More. Then the world-honored one, without departing from his seat beneath the Bodhi trees and the peak of Mount Sumeru, headed to the jewel-adorned hall in the Deva's palace in the Suyama heaven. The Buddha takes off. We're going to go down over the page break. Here we go. Ready? Just then, the celestial king of the Suyama heaven saw the Buddha approaching from afar. He used spiritual powers to conjure a jewel lotus flower treasury lion's throne. The throne was decorated by 1,000,000 tiers of staircases, 1,000,000 golden nets draped down. It was covered by 1,000,000 flower banners, 1,000,000 garland banners, 1,000,000 perfumed banners, and 1,000,000 jewel banners. Quite a chair. Continue from here. Ready? Flower canopies, garland canopies, incense canopies, and jewel canopies, each numbering in the millions, trailed down on every side. Pause. Millions of lights illuminated and sparkled. Millions of celestial kings from the Suyama heavens bowed in reverence. Millions of celestial kings from the Brahma heavens jumped for joy. Millions of bodhisattvas sang hymns of praise. Millions of melodies of Dharma music played in ceaseless harmony. Millions of flower clouds, millions of garland clouds, millions of multifaceted ornament clouds, millions of garment clouds covered it to every side. The brilliant radiance of millions of mani clouds shone forth. Okay, pause. Wow. What a picture. What a chair, right? This is where the Buddha's going to sit. This throne was born of millions of wholesome qualities, supported and sustained by millions of Buddhas, and augmented by millions of varieties of blessings and virtues. It was made splendid by millions of profound resolves and millions of vows. It rose from millions of practices. It was established by millions of dharmas. It appeared from millions of kinds of psychic powers. The throne constantly emitted millions of voices proclaiming the Dharma. What a chair! The chair comes into being because of thoughts that people have, like resolves, creates the Buddha's throne. All right. Okay, so that's the chair. Now, the action rolls. If this were a movie, we're into dialogue. Ready? Having arrayed the seat, the celestial king then bowed in respect to the world-honored one and placed his palms together. With profound respect and reverence, he said to the Buddha, "Welcome, world-honored one. Welcome, Sugata. Welcome, Tathagata, who is worthy of offerings and who has gained right enlightenment. We humbly wish that you will favor us and abide here in our palace." Okay, what's that? That's a Dharma request. Do you recognize it? Gong Ching Da De Sang Ting. We with profound out of compassion for the sake of, right? Okay, here we go. Then the Buddha accepted their invitation and ascended to the jewel palace, while everyone in all directions, the same events transpired. I read it wrong, everywhere. The celestial king recalled the wholesome qualities he had fostered with past Buddhas, received the Buddha's awe-inspiring strength, and chanted these verses. First, it's the Deva king who sings first, who does hip-hop, spoken word poetry. What does he say? We'll do one of these, not the whole bunch. Ready? Here we go. The Tathagata renown, famous throughout the 10 directions, supreme among what is auspicious, has stayed in this Mani palace. Therefore, this place is the most auspicious. Okay, he goes through the Tathagata jewel king, the Tathagata joyful eye, the Tathagata lighted lamp. That's Dipankara. Anybody keeping track? The Tathagata benefactor, the Tathagata skillfully awakened, the Tathagata surpassing the gods, the Tathagata never departing, the Tathagata unsurpassed, and the Tathagata ascetic. Did what? Made this place the most auspicious. All right. Now we're going to end chapter 19. Ready? Here we go. And just as in this world, the Suyama heaven's celestial king received the Buddha's spiritual strength, and after recalling past Buddhas' merit and virtue, sang hymns in their praise, so did celestial kings of the Suyama heaven in each world of 10 directions. They all praised the Buddha's merit and virtue. Okay? They said the Buddha is the best. Last paragraph of the whole chapter 19. Ready? Then the world-honored one entered the Mani-adorned palace, and upon the flower treasury lion's throne sat with his legs in full lotus posture. Suddenly the palace expanded vastly, wider and deeper. And just as this happened in the abodes of the multitudes of devas, so too did it happen just the same in deva palaces in worlds of the 10 directions. All right, congratulations. You just read a chapter of the Avatamsaka Sutra together with a bunch of Dharma friends. How special and rare is that? And so, what do we just see? So, here we go. So, worlds of 10 directions all saw the Buddha. on the top of Mount Sumeru, which means he's in the palace of the heaven of the Suyama heaven. And they saw the Buddha there surrounded by people. Bodhisattvas all got inspired, spoke Dharma, and they all have this impression the Buddha's right in front of them. How weird. Then the Buddha takes off, goes up through the heavens to the Suyama heaven, and the king there says, oh, here comes the Buddha. Oh my goodness. All right, everybody, places everyone, here he comes. So he uses his spiritual powers and he makes a throne. And we saw what it was. Oh my goodness, all the millions of incredible adornments to the throne. And where it came from, what it was like. Then the king says, welcome Buddha, please come. Buddha says, I will, I'm coming here. So the Buddha shows up, the Deva king says, you're not the first one. I've seen 10 different Buddhas come here and do this. And they made this place the most auspicious. So good. So they then all the in all the different worlds, the Suyama heaven king all do the same thing. The Buddha comes in, crosses his legs in full lotus, sits, ready. Okay, that's chapter 19, all done. Okay, now we know that for this to happen, what that means is there is going to be some major teaching going on. In this case, what the Buddha is going to teach is called the 10 practices. That's the Dharma that is explained in the Suyama heaven. So, after the 10 practices is explained, there is a shorter chapter called the Inexhaustible Treasuries. So, in order to have this move forward, there has to be an audience. So what happens next is chapter 20, bodhisattvas show up. They come from somebody getting a call, tell them call back. The bodhisattvas show up from all directions. There are 10 of them in particular, and this particular group all has the name something something forest. And they have a leader, Forest of Merit and Virtue, and in chapter 21, 10 practices, he's going to be the speaker. We don't know that yet, but because he's the leader of these, all kinds of bodhisattvas show, but we get the names of 10 of them. And of those 10, they're all something something lean, bodhisattva. So they do something that I want to identify. We saw 3 lay Dharma protectors with incense, walk around 3 times, put the incense in the censer, go back. You couldn't see them, but I could because they're behind you. They made 3 bows, then knelt on one knee with palms together, holding a microphone and the text, and said, will the Sangha with great virtue? So that's exactly what happens in the Suyama Heaven Palace. The behavior that you saw, the ceremonial ritual of Qingfa happens in the sutra. And so people will remember Pushen Pusa, Samantabhadra Bodhisattva has 10 practices and vows. Pushen Pusa, Shi Dao Yuan, right? So number 5 is Sui Shi Gongde, rejoice in others' virtue. Number 6 is Qing Zhuan Fa Lun, requesting the Dharma wheel be turned, asking the Buddha, please turn the Dharma wheel. That's it. That's Samantabhadra says, do that, and you're on your way to Buddhahood. So we just saw 3 people do that. On yesterday was Friday, Paul, who was here on our side, did the Dharma request online. We were all, my Friday afternoon Song of Enlightenment is just, it's virtual, and I don't turn my camera on, so everybody's listening, kind of like a podcast for an hour. But we still have a Qingfa, and Paul was the one who requested Dharma online. It's somebody different every week, and I'm grateful that people want to do that. But that's it exactly. It's the same thing. When you make the request, then the monk or the nun goes, sure, I would be happy to speak Dharma. Let's get the show on the road, Showtime. What do you want to learn? What do you want to hear? I do too. Let's look into it. It's like that. So that's what's going to happen right now in the Suyama Heaven Palace. Okay. Are we ready? We put our palms together. Here we go. Ready? Starting right here. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Chapter 20. Verses in praise amid a palace in the Suyama heaven. Just then, with the aid of the Buddha's spiritual strength, a distinguished bodhisattva appeared from each of the 10 directions, together with bodhisattvas in number like particles of dust in a Buddha land. From worlds, countries beyond 100,000 Buddha lands, they arrived and assembled together. Their names were Bodhisattva, Forest of Merit and Virtue, pause. Bodhisattva, Forest of Wisdom. Bodhisattva, Forest of Victory. Bodhisattva, Forest of Courage. Bodhisattva, Forest of Remorse. Bodhisattva, Forest of Vigor. Bodhisattva, Forest of Strength. Bodhisattva, Forest of Practices. Bodhisattva, Forest of Awakening. Bodhisattva, Forest of Knowledge. Good. Palms down. Take a break. So there they are, just like I said, with the Buddha's blessing. So that's east, that's west, that's south, that's north, that's in between, 4 above and below. Bodhisattvas came from all directions with leaders, 10 in particular, but behind them, lots of other bodhisattvas. They have arrived and gathered together. They're very orderly because why? They want something. They want to hear the Buddha. They really want to hear the Dharma. They want to learn how to teach living beings. They're good at it, but they know they can get better at it. So the Buddha is the expert. They're studying from the Buddha. Chang Sui Fo Xue. They're learning from the Buddha. Then the sutra says, I'm going to tell you their names. Their names were Forest of, 10 of them. And look at merit and virtue, wisdom, victory, courage, remorse, vigor, strength, practices, awakening, and knowledge. Okay. Then we get to hear the worlds they came from, and we get to hear the Buddha's names in those worlds. Ready? Here we go. Ready? All of these bodhisattvas and the worlds they came from, namely, world personal wisdom, pause, world banner wisdom, world jewel wisdom, world victorious wisdom, world lamp wisdom, world Vajra wisdom, world peaceful, joyful wisdom, world solar wisdom, world purified wisdom, world immaculate wisdom. So all their worlds had the name wisdom in it. Here we go. Each one of these bodhisattvas had practiced immaculate practices purely in those worlds, in the presence of their respective Buddhas, namely, computer break here. Okay, Buddha's names. Ready? Buddha, eyes that constantly abide. Buddha, eyes that are unsurpassed. Buddha, eyes that do not rest. Buddha, eyes that do not move. Buddha, eyes of the Devas. Buddha, eyes of liberation. Buddha, eyes that can detect the truth. Buddha, eyes of bright characteristics. Buddha, eyes that are unsurpassed. Buddha eyes that are navy blue. Got a blue-eyed Buddha. Ready? When each of the bodhisattvas arrived at the Buddha's place and bowed in respect at his feet, according to the directions they came from, each of them made a mani treasury lion's throne, and crossing their legs in full lotus, took their seat upon it. And just as it was with bodhisattvas gathering in this world's Suyama heaven, so too did these events transpire in all the many worlds, with their bodhisattvas, their worlds, their tathagatas, and their names, the same in every way. That's an Avatamsaka thing, that where it happens in one place, it happens in all places. Very cool. Notice how they come in and sit in full lotus. That's so interesting. Okay. 2 more paragraphs. Here we go. Then the Bhagavan released billions of lights of marvelous hues from his 2 feet. The lights shone everywhere on worlds in 10 directions and lit up every Buddha and every one of their gatherings in Suyama heaven palaces in every world. Just then, the Bodhisattva forest of merit and virtue received the Buddha's awe-inspiring strength, contemplated everywhere in all directions, and chanted the following verses in praise. Okay. So, this is key to every one of the Qi Chu Jiu Hui, 7 places and 9 assemblies, that the Buddha sends light out. But, interestingly, he doesn't speak. Somebody else gets the light and speaks for the Buddha. So, in this case, he releases light from his feet. He's sitting in full lotus, so his feet are up, and those lights shine in all directions. All the Buddhas get the light, the palaces light up, and at that point, the leader of the group, Forest of Merit and Virtue, comes out. Now, here's where we meet him for the first time. In chapter 21, the next chapter, he's the speaker of the whole thing. So here's where we meet him. He comes out, looks around, gets the Buddha's energy, his blessing, and then speaks Dharma. But he chants, he's singing. This is spoken word poetry. Okay. So far, so good. You guys are really good. It's so nice to hear everybody chanting together, all in harmony. Okay, we're going to distract a little bit here. Take a little break. Cultivate little blessings of our own. Sutta, the highest blessings. Thus I have heard that the Blessed One was staying at Shravasti, residing at the Jada Grove in Anathapindika's park. Then in the dark of the night, radiant Deva illuminated all the Jada's grove. She bowed down low before the Blessed One, then standing to one side she said, Devas are concerned for happiness and ever long long for peace. The same is true for humankind. What then are the highest blessings? Dharma request. Notice, here's a deva, a female, Devi, comes down to the beautiful park where we've been in the Jada Grove in India. You can go there, in Shravasti. And she lights up everything because her body releases light like a deva from the Suyama heaven. She asks her question of the Buddha. She says, what does she say? We gods are concerned about happiness. We want to continue it. We also long for peace. People do too. Buddha, please tell us, what are the highest blessings? Okay? So, 众天神与人渴望得利益，思虑求幸福，请是最吉祥。All right? So, what does the Buddha say? The Buddha says, avoiding those of foolish ways, associating with the wise, honoring those worthy of honor. And we all sing together and say, these are the highest blessings. Again, these are the highest blessings. Living in places of suitable kinds with the fruits of past good deeds and guided by the rightful way. Ready? These are the highest blessings. These are the highest blessings. Living in places of suitable kinds with the fruits of past good deeds guided by what's right. Accomplished in learning and craftsman skills, with discipline highly trained, and speech that is true and pleasant to hear. These are the highest blessings. These are the highest blessings. So, being good with your hands. You can use tools in the kitchen, in the shed, in the tool shed, motor vehicles, dealing with animals, dealing with children, and speech. Notice, true and pleasant to hear. Filiality comes next. Take a look. Providing for mother and father support, cherishing family and ways of work that harm no being. Ready? These are the highest blessings. These are the highest blessings. Let's do one more. Generosity and a righteous life, offering to help relatives and kin, acting in ways to leave no blame. Your turn. These are the highest blessings. These are the highest blessings. Generosity and a righteous life. Offering to help relatives and kin, except when they come to ask for money. When they come to borrow money, maybe you can say, I like you as a neighbor and kin. I don't want to lose you, so I'm not going to loan you money. And they go, And you go, Amitofo. It's true. Fastest way to lose a friend is to loan him money. So, these are the highest blessing. Acting in ways that leave no blame. In the end, you know that's true. At the moment, it's kind of like, but it's true. It's true. Okay, back to our sutra. We got 10 bodhisattvas worth of verses but we're not going to read them all. We're going to read, well, actually, you know what? Let's see how fast we can get through them. Maybe if we just can we do 10 in a gulp? Let's try it. So we can, as literature, right? Listening to the sutra as if it were a book to be read, so you can follow the plot, get the structure, hear the story, get a feel for the whole thing. All right. We know he's going to do it. I'll keep scrolling. Are we ready? Here we go. The Buddha sends forth abundant radiance, shining throughout all 10 directions, so that all can see the one honored by people and devas, how he understands everything without obstacles. Pause. The Buddha, seated in the Suyama's palace, pervades throughout all palaces in 10 directions. Such a phenomena as this is the rarest thing in any world. Pause. The king of devas in the Suyama heavens lauds the 10 Tathagatas. Just the way everybody here can see, the same events occur in every assembly. Pause. The bodhisattvas who have gathered there all share the same name with me. Throughout all 10 directions, we proclaim the unsurpassed Dharma. Pause. The worlds from which we all come are named the same without exception. We all cultivate pure Brahma practices in the presence of Buddhas, all alike. Okay, page break. Ready? Here we go. The Tathagatas we each serve all share the same names. Their Buddha lands are full of wealth and joy, sovereign self-mastery, and spiritual strength. Pause. Everywhere in each direction, we claim that the Buddha is here with us, or we see him among people, or we see him resting in the Deva's palace. Pause. The Tathagatas all abide at peace amid all the various countries. We all see these Buddhas at rest in the Deva's palaces. They all have made the Bodhi resolve everywhere in 10 directions worlds. That is why the Buddha's awe-inspiring strength pervades in ways inconceivable. Far beyond worldly greed, full of boundless virtue, so they realize psychic powers and all sentient beings can see them. They roam 10 directions realms as freely as empty space, without hindrance, with one body or many bodies whose features are simply unobtainable. The Buddha's merit and virtue are boundless. How could they be known? They neither stay nor do they go, and they merge with all in the Dharma realm. Okay, now, that kind of counters what I said. There is praise. He's praising the Buddha, but he's giving us real, concrete qualities of the Buddha that he says are worthy of praise. Okay. Yep. We're going to put out a lot of chi tonight going through. I want to find out where's the painter. The painter, this is number 2. This is number 3. This is number 4, extensive body. This is number 5. I remember these, yeah. Beautiful. This is number 6, about dharmas. Here's number 7. Yeah, this is really beautiful. What is a world? Number 8, elements, bodies. That's number 9. Painter's number 9. So let's see here. I think we'll not do them all. Okay, we'll do number 2 here. We just finished that one? Yep. Okay, we'll do number 2. We ready? Forest of Wisdom. Here we go. Then Bodhisattva, Forest of Wisdom, received the Buddha's awe-inspiring strength, contemplated everywhere in all directions, and chanted the following verses in praise. The magnificent guide and teacher for the worlds, the supreme honored one, free from defilement, throughout kalpas inconceivable in number, is truly difficult to encounter. The Buddha sends forth great radiance that no one in the world can fail to see. Then he proceeds to explain for the masses his intent to benefit the myriad beings. The Tathagata appears amid the worlds and dispels the dark of ignorance for us all. In this way, we see the lamp of the world, so rare and difficult to meet. Well cultivated, giving precepts and patience, vigor and dhyana as well, he has cultivated prajna paramita, and with these he illumines the mundane. The Tathagata is beyond compare. You'll never find his equal anywhere. Yet those who fail to grasp the Dharma's truth, to them the Buddha never will appear. The Buddha, with his bodies and his psychic powers, shows inconceivable sovereign self-mastery. He neither comes nor goes, and he explains the Dharma to save sentient beings. Those who get to see and hear the pure teacher of devas and humans will leave behind pathways of distress forever. All suffering is over for them. One who for innumerable infinite kalpas cultivates the practices of Bodhi, but who does not know this meaning, will never succeed at Buddhahood. But one who for inconceivable kalpas makes offerings to limitless Buddhas and does know this meaning, their merit will surpass the former's. If one takes limitless lands full of jewels and gives them to the Buddha, but does not know this meaning, will ultimately not realize Bodhi. All right. Now, I want you all to take a brief moment to share something special. Anybody who has sat in on my Song of Enlightenment lectures will know this sound. Those of you who have not, get a chance to hear Master Shenhua singing to you, Song of Enlightenment. Make sure the volume is good, and I will be right back.
顿教了如来禅，六度万行体正圆，能以明明有六趣，教后空空无大千，无罪福无损益，寂灭心中莫问你，必来尘间未曾没，今日分明须剖析。虽无念虽无声，饶是无声无不生，换取机关无人问，求何四更早完成。方此大摩巴着，寂灭心中虽隐着，诸行无常一切空，即是如来大圆教。决定说表真僧，有人不亲不肯认清真，直接根源佛所言，再也寻知我不能。牟尼主人不是如来藏里亲手的，六盘神云空不空，一颗圆光晒非晒，境无根得无理，为增来之难可测，尽力尽力看行见不难，水中坐月怎念得，常度行常度不，大者同有涅槃路，了无神性风自高，毛垂骨干神不服，穷狮子口成品，虽是身贫道不贫，贫在身常配履合，道在心常无价真。无价真用无间，理无应机终不连，三身四肢体中圆，八界流通心地引，上是一觉一切了，中下多闻多不现，但自怀中皆构意，谁能向外跨境界？
谁能向外跨境界 Okay. Song of Enlightenment, 17 minutes long, recited from memory by Master Hua in 1985. And we're 2/3 of the way through. We've got, we're on verse 44 out of 63. So anybody who, I'll give you a flavor of the English. It looks like this. Anybody who's interested in what that meant, what Shifu was chanting, here we go. It looks like this. Let's try, let's pick this one here. Yeah. Shifu goes. 坐在心，养在身，不须严肃更有人。欲得不着无间业，莫帮如来正法论。Let me go. mind, but the body feels the blow. Don't waste your time finding faults, let resentments go. You know the karma of the endless hells is true and real. Slander not the Tathagata's right dharma wheel. Like that. And there's a couple different verses that we use, a couple different melodies, but it's bringing it to life. And the fun part is, this is a song. This is not a poem. It's not a verse. It's a song meant to be sung. And it's from the Tang Dynasty. So anybody who's read the Sixth Patriarch Sutra knows that every now and then he just breaks into a song. He says, 听我偈云, listen to my song. And he just sings it right out. So apparently that was something the monks did when they were awake and sharing the Dharma. So we have a chance to do that, and we've known how good it is for years and years and years, but haven't been able to share it in English. You had to sing Chinese first to appreciate it. And when Shifu did it for us, he kind of unlocked that whole, gave us permission to be creative with Zhang Dao Ge, Song of Awakening. So it's every Friday at 12:30, 1 o'clock here in California, which makes it 6 a.m. in Australia or 5 a.m. when it's daylight savings here. And that makes it 4 a.m. in China and Taiwan. Aiyo, 这么早. But I should speak for myself. I'm really enjoying digging into the Zhang Dao Ge and sharing it with everybody. So just to let you know about that. Okay, more of our verses. Let's look at Forest of Victory. They're also good. We can't skip them. Okay, we ready? Let's do it. Here we go. Then Bodhisattva, Forest of Victory, received the Buddha's awe-inspiring strength, contemplated everywhere in all directions, and chanted the following verses in praise. Ready? Just as in the months of summer, in a pristine, cloudless sky, the brilliant sun casts its light equally in all directions. The sun's light is measureless. Nobody can estimate its size. Even those with eyes cannot do it. How much less are the blind able to reckon? Buddhas are just that way, with boundless merit and virtue. Even after looking for innumerable kalpas, nobody can know its amount. Dharmas come from nowhere. They have no creator. They have no source. Nobody can distinguish one from the next. Because all dharmas come from nowhere, so they have no creation. Because creation itself does not exist, neither can cessation be found. Whoa. All dharmas are not born. They also do not die. Someone who understands dharmas in this way truly sees the Tathagata. Because dharmas have no birth, an inherent nature does not exist. One who knows this about dharmas truly gets the deepest meaning. Because dharmas have no nature, nobody can know them. Someone who understands this truth about dharmas knows there is nothing to understand. Whoa. The Buddha only talks about creation in order to make Buddha lands appear. One who truly understands the nature of lands will not be confused in his mind about them. Now, if anybody wants to swap pronouns for her mind, go right ahead. Last one. The nature of lands in the world, when someone observes them as they are, if you can know them in this way, you will be able to skillfully explain all things. Okay, palms down. Master Hua said to us on numerous occasions, if you can understand the principles of the Avatamsaka Sutra, there will be no body of worldly knowledge that you will not be able to understand. He said, economics, history, political science, mathematics, he said, philosophy. You'll be able to understand it all once you connect with the principles of the Avatamsaka Sutra. So what I got from that was that there are kind of priorities among truths, and the Avatamsaka are some of the deepest principles inherent in the human mind. Other principles filter up. These are the roots, the others are the branches. Forest of courage. Okay. Good. Similar. Okay. Okay, here we go. Bodhisattva, initial resolve. Okay. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to pick up in that spot next week, continue all the way through. I don't want to skip the Bodhisattva's verses. They're so good. Reciting them together. Are you enjoying this? This is fun to me. I don't know. Something about it, you know. To hear the Buddha's wisdom coming out of your own mouth. Your ears get to hear, you know, your voice saying the Buddha's wisdom. Pretty special. Any questions or comments or encouragement or cautions as we go along? Even online? I don't know. So, yeah. Good, all right. Master Hua encouraged us to be creative, to use our own reality to explore the sutras. Talked last week about our beloved patriarch of the Tiantai school, Master Shenming, passed away at an advanced age, over 100, and how much he loved to speak Dharma, but when he tied into the traditional structures, they just choked it out. Nobody wanted to listen. It was too slow, too complicated, too formal. It's like really from a museum. And yet there he was, just waiting for all the protocol to stop so he could say, "Go away, Shan Zhi," you know. "Let me tell you a story." And he had to wait 30 minutes, 40 minutes. Nobody wanted to listen. So Shifu saw in not just the Avatamsaka, but in the Lotus Sutra, in the Shurangama Sutra, in the Earth-Store Sutra, in the Amitabha Sutra, in the Vajra Sutra, in the Heart Sutra, these principles that when they get in the heart, just break the darkness of selfishness and loneliness and fear and anxiety, and instead what fills in is a sense of connection and a sense of kindness and a fearlessness and a willingness to go beyond comfort zones in order to extend that goodness and kindness to others. Even to the point where if you follow Samantabhadra's practices, you get to this place of dedicating merit. 回向, transferring merit and virtue. And this one I want to point to. Tomorrow night, 7:30, online, either on Zoom or on YouTube. You're invited to join in for City of 10,000 Buddhas Sunday night lecture. It's me again, as it was for years and years and years, doing the Sunday night lecture, although I'll be sitting in my cubby up in the library here. I'm doing the virtual Sunday night lecture at CTDB on the 十回向品, 10 transferences chapter. And what it's about, it's funny how it unlocks itself as we go. And I've been doing it for years now, years and years. And I'm only at number 6 out of 10. And what my latest understanding of what it's about is this. 10 practices that our teacher of practices, Samantabhadra, gives us. Number 10, the capstone, the crown of all of them, is called 回向, transference, dedication. The thing about dedication is all of us can do it. Anyone can do it. And when you do, you're actually giving. You're really giving. If you have, they say, even a single wholesome quality, one good root, they say, which comes from doing something kind, whatever it might be, if you feed people, if you are kind to elders, if you refuse to do road rage, somebody cuts you off, you go first. If you refuse to cheat when you get a tax gain that's not yours, you give it back. All those good things. Even one of them is your opportunity to say all the goodness from that single wholesome quality or multiple wholesome. Sitting in with good friends on a Saturday night or a Sunday, wherever you are, and singing the Mangala Sutta. These are the highest blessing. That's good roots. That's wholesome qualities. Take that, and with a single thought of your mind, say, I share it with, you give it, whoever you want to give it to. Survivors or sufferers of the Turkey-Syrian earthquake. Survivors or sufferers of the Ukraine war. Survivors or sufferers of police brutality. Whatever it might be, wherever you see a way to give, you give it with your mind. Kind of the way a cell phone towers are there, they're hidden. If you're in the city, they're hidden behind a billboard. If they're in the country, they're decorated to look like a tree, The way a cell phone tower sends out that signal in all directions. It doesn't miss the south. It gives it in all directions. Your mind does that. Whoever you give it to invisibly receives it. Can't see it, can't weigh it, has no color, has no sound, but it's a real gift of the mind. This is called 法布施, the giving of Dharma. What do they say? 主供养中法供养. So Dharma is the highest kind, the best kind of giving. This is it. This is a gift of Dharma from your mind out to whoever you're giving it to with the wish that. And you fill in, what do you want to do good with your transference? So you give it, invisibly, living beings receive it. And what happens, invisibly, they feel good about you. You help them, you benefit them, you give to them, they receive it, we receive it, and we go, I kind of like that person. I don't know why, but I'm kind of drawn to them. They're okay. Maybe I trust them. I might listen when they say something, Or if you do it a lot, they're like, oh, I really feel good around this person. I agree with them. Or maybe if it's for a long, long time, you say, yeah, I might even, when they do something, I might imitate them. Why? 好感, 缘分, 善法缘. You got wholesome Dharma connections with that person because of the transference that you have done that they received. It's just that way. And we don't see it, but what's going on? Why would Samantabhadra praise it and point it out as such a good thing to do if it wasn't real? Now, why is that important? You remember the heart of the Avatamsaka Sutra is called the Bodhi Resolve. Bodhicitta, remember? What is the Putishin? Putishin says, I can become a Buddha, but the way I do it is by Shang Cheng Fo Dao, Xia Hua Zhong Sheng. How do you Hua Zhong Sheng? Teach living beings? If you don't have a wholesome Dharma connection with them, they're not going to listen to you. Why would they bother? Why would they trust you? If you have transferred merit to them gradually, progressively over time, they trust you. You have that connection with them. This is how you become a Buddha, by walking the Bodhisattva path to its end, by regularly, steadily transferring merit. Invisibly, you are tying yourself to those living beings in a wholesome way. That's what it is. It's using the mind to create good connections to living beings so that you can actually help them become a Buddha and you become a Buddha in the process. 自利利他, 自教教他, 自度度他. Help yourself, helping others. Wake up yourself through wakening others. Benefit yourself by you take others across you take yourself across by taking others across. So anyway, that's my new understanding of what this is all about. It's a real thing. And it's not just, a good feel, oh, my religion says I should do this. No, it's real. It's a real thing. Okay, that's what I wanted to share. And we'll be doing it tomorrow night. We do the highest blessing, the Mangala Sutta. We do the 7 Tathagatas, because it sounds nice on the banjo. Want to practice? Here we go. No, I don't want those good roots. I don't want them. Let somebody else have it. Ready? Namo Do Bao Ru Lai, Namo Bao Shen Ru Lai, Namo Miao Shai Shen Ru Lai, Namo Guang Bo Shen Ru Lai, Namo Li Bu Wei Ru Lai, Namo Gan Lu Wang Ru Lai, Namo Amito Ru Lai. One more. Namo Do Bao Ru Lai, Namo Bao Shen Ru Lai, Namo Miao Shai Shen Ru Lai, Namo Guang Bo Shen Ru Lai, Namo Li Bu Wei Ru Lai, Namo Gan Lu Wang Ru Lai, Namo Amito Ru. Number 3. Namo Do Bao Ru Lai, Namo Bao Shen Ru Lai, Namo Miao Shai Shen Ru Lai, Namo Guang Bo Shen Ru Lai, Namo Li Bu Wei Ru Lai, Namo Gan Lu Wang Ru Lai, Namo Amito Ru Lai. Now, it is not too soon to start thinking about Buddha Root Farm. Oh, whoa, Buddha Root Farm, I remember that. So, it's coming up again this summer. Now, there are some things that have to happen before we're sure of it. We've got to get the bridge rebuilt, and there's other stuff that has to happen, but we're pretty confident that we can do it, and I just want to start beating the drum so people remember and get interested in it. And notice this name right here. Anybody know who that is? That's a former Bhikshu Hengju, right? Bhikshu Hengju, who was there at Buddha Root Farm. And he started a song that I never forgot. And recently, we found the first verse, the first 2 verses that he wrote. And it was so good that I filled in the rest of the verses. So, this is, you all get to hear the Buddha Root Farm song for the very first time. There was Rogue River Robbie and Ginseng Jack, tough meditators from the far out back, and a gang from Oakland that should have raised an alarm, gathered here together at Buddha Root Farm. Gathered here together at Buddha Root Farm. There was a kid from Hanoi and a guy from Iran and a girl in blue jeans who drove a truck like a man. New Delhi and New Jersey, from city and from farm, came to recite the Buddha's name at Buddha Root Farm. We came to recite the Buddha's name at Buddha Root Farm. So that's Tim's verses. I added the rest. With monks from Gold Mountain who never lie down, they eat one meal in a factory in Old Mission Town, following a Chan master whom demons couldn't harm. We pitched our tents in Oregon at Buddha Root Farm. We pitched our tents in Oregon at Buddha Root Farm. Master Shan Hua said, recite the Buddha's name, continue through this rainstorm, day and night the same. We're heading for the Pure Land, a place where there's no harm. Lotus born, recall we met at Buddha Root Farm. When you are lotus born, recall we first met at Buddha Root Farm. Now, some folks feared mosquito bites on arms and legs and head. I made a deal. If you recite, they'll bite me instead. Master Hua feared no pain, even bugs he could disarm, to bring us to the western land of Buddha Root Farm. To bring us to the western land of Buddha Root Farm. You can talk of gods and spirits and dazzling kung fu, and bodhisattvas sing in praise of Buddha's virtues, but dragons curl and tigers crouch and vow to do no harm after learning how to cultivate at Buddha Root Farm. And we all learn how to cultivate at Buddha Root Farm. Song in progress, more verses to come, but there you go. What do you think? Is that a good start? Tim Testu says, Ami tofu. Okay, by golly. So let's go out to Dharma Radio. Let's see if there's anything new. I haven't checked. dharmaradio.org. We go to Good Karma Music. Look at the stories. I recently came across a heartwarming video on TikTok featuring a lonely 94-year-old lady residing in a nursing home. It moved me to learn her birthday falls on the 14th of February, Valentine's Day. She's an Aquarian. I feel inspired to bring a smile to her face by sending her a heartfelt birthday card. It reads, Happy 94th birthday and happy Valentine's Day. On this special day, I want to let you know you are thought of and loved. You've lived a long and full life, and I hope this birthday brings you joy and happiness. I know that sometimes it can feel lonely, but I hope this birthday will remind you of all the love and memories you created over the years. It is a privilege to have you in our lives, and I'm grateful for the wisdom and love you have shared. May this birthday be filled with laughter, good memories, and lots of love. May the rest of the year be filled with happiness, good health, many more opportunities to make wonderful memories. With love and best wishes. All right, Saffron from Omaha. We'll send them music, right? Do a good deed. If you've done one, do another one, right? Send it in, and we'll give you your choice of music, and you can share it with somebody else. Tell them where it came from and have them share it. Or, if you want to go out to iTunes and spend $13, you can do that. Buy it off of iTunes. There you go. iTunes doesn't exist anymore, right? Now it's Apple Music. Shoot. So, anyway. All right. Jerry, how many friends listening tonight? Cliff, what's the story? How many do we have on the Chinese side? Let's see here. He'll tell me in a minute. Okay. How many? 105? Okay, on the English side. On the Chinese side, usually there's 60. 73, hey, progress. All right, thank you, Cliff. Good and all. Any announcements? Nope. Oh, I know, we got to tell you, those of you who were heading up to DRBU tomorrow for a program with Marty Verhoeven and myself. Tomorrow? 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 Oh, today's Saturday. Monday. Cancel. Postpone. Not cancel. Postpone. Health issues to be rescheduled. We'll let you know. We were going to read from our letters book, Highway Dharma Letters. Not going to happen Monday. All right? There we go. Okay. Now, to transfer merit in our new tradition, opportunity to think of where you want to dedicate your merit, how far you want it to go. You make those wishes. Use your mind like a cell phone tower, like a lighthouse. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasaja Guru Madhurya Prabharajaya Tathagacaya Arahate Samyak Sambuddhaya Tadyata Om Baisaji Baisaji Baisadya Samukate Swaha Om Namo Bhagavate Vasaja Guru Vaidurya Prabharajaya Tathagacaya Arahate Samyak Sambuddhaya Tadyata Om Baisaji Baisaji Baisaja Samukate Swaha. One more time. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasaja Guru Vaidurya Prabharajaya Tathagacaya Arahate Samyak Sambuddhaya Tadyata Om Baisaji Baisaji Baisadya Samukate Swaha. Medicine Buddha's vows carry those wishes far and wide. And we together, from where you're sitting, we bow to the Buddha. Go. Ready? First bow. Second bow. And third bow. Bow in respect to the Venerable Master. Alrighty, that's going to do it for us for tonight. Namo Da Fang Guang Fo Hua Yen Jin Hua